Hey everyone, NHL news, some trade rumors, Nazem Kadri maybe back to the Toronto Maple Leafs. All of this in this video. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. I hope you hit that subscribe button, like, comment your thoughts down below and the notification bell. Pius Suter signs a 2-year deal with the St. Louis Blues, $4 million each year. I think this is a steal for the Blues. Like, after the year he had, I know a lot of people have talked about he wasn't going to repeat that production and what kind of role could he play, but I just look at Pius Suter. He put up 20-plus goals, and he's a guy that can play 2 or 3C. I think that's going to be a great opportunity for the St. Louis Blues because they could put Suter at 2C or Braden Shen at 2C and then put the other guy at 3C. So good business by the St. Louis Blues and Doug Armstrong. And I told you guys to be positive on what the Blues were doing. They just signed Nick Bjugstad as well. So the Zach Bolduc loss looks not as bad. Let's just put it that way. Maxim Shabanov. Shabanov put up a point per game in the KHL in the season and playoffs, and Shabanov signs a deal with the New York Islanders. So I'm curious about Shabanov because he's 5'8". Will his production translate from the KHL to the National Hockey League? I think a lot of guys like in their early 20s, especially he's 24. So for Maxim Shabanov, can it translate to the NHL? Can that lack of size translate? And I would also just say, will it help the fact that the New York Islanders do have a few Russian players? So keep an eye on that. A lot of people have talked about to look out for this guy translating into the National Hockey League. Also, a couple other things just quickly. Morgan Frost signed a deal with the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames, interesting because they're signing their RFAs to high cap hits. We'll see. I think they are trying to commit to younger pieces. And Nazem Kadri, I want to make this about the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Nazem Kadri, people are putting up fake reports out, so don't listen to everything that's on X, guys, and on Reddit. Don't read everything and just believe it is what I'm trying to get at. But I do think it does make a natural fit and make some sense that Nazem Kadri could go to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously drafted by the Leafs in 2008 and 2009. And Luke Schenn was drafted in 2008. Nazem Kadri drafted in 2009. And you could probably bring both back. Actually, Luke Schenn wasn't really a good fit with the Jets towards the end of the year. So maybe you bring back Schenn because he played really well with Morgan Rielly. But on the Kadri side of things, drafted in 2009. I think the way it ended in Toronto wasn't great, and I think a lot of people regret seeing him go, even though it was back-to-back suspensions. It was just a tough time for Toronto, as it has been. But at a $7 million cap hit for a guy getting into his mid-30s, would the Calgary Flames have to retain? I put the suggestion out there that if you could get a retention on Nazem Kadri, maybe even include Blake Coleman in the trade, would you be willing to trade Eston Cowan? I think some people are like, who's Eston Cowan? Like, outside of the Toronto market. Educate yourself, because I'm on both sides here. I understand some Leaf fans want to make Eston Cowan sound like the best thing since sliced bread, and then outside of Toronto, people want to make Eston Cowan sound like he's nothing. He was one of the best players in the OHL this year, again, and he's definitely one of the better prospects that hasn't touched the NHL yet. He's only 20 years old. I think Eston Cowan, plus some draft capital, plus maybe Nick Robertson, if Trey Living's wanting to move him, if Robertson doesn't want to be there, some kind of structure around that. I don't know if the Flames would take one of Camp or Yarncrow. Obviously, that's basically either negative value or just even value, because the comparison I would put out there is Sam Lafferty, and all he got was his 6th-round pick. So it'd be something like that. All I'm saying is the Toronto Maple Leafs, Brad Trey Living yesterday made it clear they're going after a top 6 forward. And I also wanted to talk about it again, as I did in the stream, when Trey Living made that trade with Florida when he was on the Calgary side, the Tkachuk and Huberdeau and Weegar trade. That was July 22nd. So we need to be patient, folks. This trade might not happen until later in July or even in August. It's going to happen, though. It will happen. I can promise you guys that. He will make an addition to the top 6. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this news, the Leafs trade rumors, other stuff that's out there. We'll keep an eye on it. I don't know if Jordan Kyrou is going to get traded by the Blues. He might stay now. But keep an eye on Bowen Byram as well and Marco Rossi. I expect those things to happen soon. And Nikolai Ehlers in the UFA market. He's expected to make a decision soon as well. Maybe when you're watching this video, he's already signed. Thanks, everyone. Talk soon. Peace.